Hey there, Erin here. Welcome back to the Lisa Loungewear Sew Along. This is for View E, the hooded knit onesie jumpsuit. Okay, so go ahead and make your fitting adjustments to this pattern. Cut out your pattern pieces as indicated by the instruction book and meet me back here and we'll get started. So I've got all of my pieces laid out here. These are my front pieces, my back pieces, pockets, hood, and sleeves. So what I'm going to do, as I do in all of my sew-alongs, is show you a bit more of an efficient way to do your construction for this jumpsuit. So first things first, on the front, I'm going to pin the center front seam together. Since it's already laid out that way, because we cut it, right side together, then let's just go ahead and pin it and sew that seam. I'm just placing my clips here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the back. I'm going to pin that center back seam. Okay, so we got front, back, center back seam pinned. And I'm going to do the same for my sleeves, right side together. I'm going to pin that seam. This saves so much time in construction when you're not running back and forth between your table, your sewing machine, and your pressing station. But I do write the instructions for the Sassoon patterns in the more traditional way, as to encourage good sewing habits. And then as you progress in your skill, you can learn more efficiency type of methods. So I always think it's good to have those foundations in place before you move on to, making tweaks and stuff to your process. So I'm going to put my pockets over there. I'm not ready for those yet. And I'm also going to pin this center, I guess you can call it a center back seam, along the top and back of the hood. Okay, so we've got the back seam of the hood. We've got both of our sleeves pinned. And we've got our center back seam pinned. We've got our center front seam pinned. Okay, so now it's time to go to the sewing machine and sew all of these seams. So I'm using some white fabric and some red thread just so you can see my stitching. And I'm also going to be using a basting stitch just because I'm demoing this process for you and this is not a real version for me, but make sure to use the proper stitch and thread for the fabric that you've chosen. Okay, so I'm just grabbing the first piece and this is the front and I'm just going to sew 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we've sewn all of these, and one more thing that you can go ahead and sew while we are sitting here is on your front of your jumpsuit. You've got 2 darts, and you should have marked those. So these darts here, we're going to fold along those dart legs and sew. Okay, so now it's time to do all of your pressing and finish those seam allowances. So you're going to press your darts down towards the bottom, trim these threads, press all of your seam allowance, finish all of these raw edges as you prefer to, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, as in all of my sew-alongs, I don't press my seams because, again, this is just a demonstration, but listen to my cues during this video and I will share with you when to press. Okay, so now we're going to attach these pockets to the front and back. So grab the back, that's what I'm starting with, and grab pockets, right side facing. You're going to pin those to your jumpsuit, matching the notches. Okay, so I've got the back pinned. And now I'm moving on to the front. Okay, and now we're going to sew 3/8 of an inch to attach the pockets to both the front and the back pieces that we've just pinned. When you finish sewing that, press your seam allowance towards your pocket and trim those threads, and if you would like, you can finish that raw edge. Now we're going to connect the front to back, right side together. We're going to lay out. Let's see, I've got my back here on the table, completely spread out. I'm going to work with one side first. I'm going to lay my front on top, so I got right sides facing. So what we're going to do is pin at the shoulder seam up here, down the side, around the pocket, and then down the side all the way down the bottom to the leg of the leg. Okay, so I'm going to pin across the shoulder here. Like, this onesie is so comfortable, and it's depending on how you style it, you can actually wear it out as well. Like, this is not a piece that is just confined to be worn at home. I actually plan on making this for a couple of beach vacations that I have coming up. So feel free to make this in your favorite print or even a lace. That would be gorgeous to wear as like an overlay for a swimsuit. But this is, the options are endless here, okay? So I've got one side done, and now I'm going to pin, I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to pin the inseam. Okay, so here's a leg. Let me show you what you're looking at. Here's a leg, and here's a leg. And so we're going to pin this inseam. Then we're going to switch to the other side and repeat the exact same thing that we did at the beginning. Okay, so we've got the front to back pinned, ready to go. We can also prepare our hood for the next steps, okay? So this is the front opening of your hood. This is where your face is going to go. Take this edge, okay? Just opening it up. Take this edge and fold and press 1/4 of an inch all the way around, okay? And then once you've done that, you're going to fold and press another 1 1/4 inch and then fold that over. And so I'm finger pressing, and then I'm going to pin. So now that is pinned and ready to go. So let's go to the sewing machine. And we're going to stitch about 1/4 inch away, or about 1/8 of an inch, excuse me, away from that folded edge. Nice and neat. Good to go. Now we're going to move on to sewing all of those seams that we pinned to attach our front to our back. So leaving your jumpsuit turned wrong side out, grab your sleeves, turn them right side out, and we're going to install the sleeves. So matching up your notches and aligning your underarm seam, you're going to, this is the armhole, okay? So I'm going to take my sleeve and I'm going to put it inside the armhole. And I'm going to align that side seam with that underarm seam on the sleeve and pin. So once that's pinned, go ahead and sew. And per the usual, snip those threads, press the seam allowance, finish the raw edges. Once you've attached the sleeves, you can actually go ahead and hem your sleeve while you're sitting at the machine. So pull that sleeve on through to the wrong side and fold up your 1/2 inch and sew the hem. If you want to finish the raw edge first to have a nice clean finish, then go ahead and finish that raw edge first and then fold down and stitch. Sleeves are stitched and hemmed. So now that your sleeve is done, you can go to the ironing board, press your hem flat, and you can press the seam allowance around the armhole that you just sewed and finish those raw edges, and do that for both sides of your sleeves. And now it's time to attach the hood. Turn your jumpsuit right side out, grab your hood, turn it right side out as well. And we're going to attach this hood to the neckline. So starting with the center, with the center back seam on the hood, we're going to align that with the center back seam of our jumpsuit, right sides together. And that notch on the hood is going to align with the shoulder seam. And then the edge of your hood is going to align with the notch on the neckline of the jumpsuit. And now we're going to stitch. the hood is on, give that a press, really good press, and finish the entire raw edge of your neckline. So you're going to finish this entire circle, okay? Now to close this up, you have two options. You can fold down a 1/2 inch along this front neckline, and you're going to stitch all the way around, okay? So you're only folding this front neckline here without the hood, but when you stitch, you're going to be stitching down that seam allowance that you've just sewn, okay? All the way around that hood, because you're pressing your seam allowance down and you're just giving yourself a nice top stitch there to keep that seam allowance neat and, you know, fold it down. So that's option one. Another option that you can take is to apply binding, knit binding, to close up this raw edge. So it's up to you, but I have used this jumpsuit that I have made for myself using simply just folding down the 1/2 inch method. I have gotten in and out of that jumpsuit numerous times without any problems. Just make sure to stabilize your fabric depending on which type of fabric that you've used, and you can use the closing method of your choice. Because the instructions are written for the simple method of folding down a 1/2 inch, then that's what I'm going to show you here. So I'm pinning a 1/2 inch, and I'm just folding it to the inside. And you want to press this if you want to do that. And I'm top stitching, okay? So I'm looking at the right side of my fabric. So now we're getting into the hood territory. This is my hood, okay? So I'm simply going to continue sewing. And what I'm doing is making sure that that seam allowance is tacked down nice and secure, giving me a neat finish from the outside and the inside. And so there on the inside, my seam allowance is tacked down, and I've got my hood attached. My neckline is hemmed. My hood is attached. Got top stitching all the way around. To hem our pants, finish your raw edge, fold up 1 1/4 inches, and hem. Alright, so this concludes view E of the Lisa Loungewear set. This is the last sew along video for this pattern. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I hope that you have sewn a stylish, comfortable, sexy loungewear wardrobe for yourself. And remember, these patterns are very flexible. You can wear them out, you can wear them on vacation, you can wear them around the house. It's up to you. They were designed for versatility, they were designed for comfort, and they were designed for style. So I hope again that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you again for supporting Style Sew Me Patterns. And if you have any questions, make sure to comment below. If you want to purchase the pattern and you haven't yet purchased it yet, that link is in the info box as well. And if you're looking for links to the other sew along videos that go along with this pattern, they are also linked in the info box below. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.